Hi, in this presentation, I would like to present our study on Mode S transponder Comm-B capability for current operational aircraft. My name is Junzi from TU Delft. My co-authors are Hui Wu, Xavier Olive, and Jakob Hoekstra. This is a collaboration among researchers from TU Delft, LVNL, and Onega. I think at this point you might have this question in your mind. What is Comm-B capabilities? I would like to ask you to hold on this question for a moment. First of all, I want to clarify some of the background knowledge related to Mode S. The S in Mode S stands for selective, which means the surveillance radar can selectively request specific information from aircraft. This is different from older Mode A or Mode C surveillance. In this oversimplified diagram, I will show you how it works. First, the secondary surveillance radar initiates the interrogation. Then the target will reply the corresponding information. This can be altitude, airspeed, vertical intent, etc. Even though it is selective interrogation, the radio signals are still broadcast by the aircraft. This means all other third-party receivers can also intercept the signal. For example, this can be receivers from the Open Sky network. One important thing to note is that the information transmitted this way cannot be easily decoded because the message types are not included in these signals. To solve this problem, we developed an open source tool based on Python called PyModeS to infer and decode these messages. And thanks to the contribution from open source community, including many of you at the Open Sky Symposium, we're improving PyModeS every year. This tool also allows us to explore the data we presented in this paper. I also want to talk about ADS-B quickly. As you may know, there were 3 different proposals for implementing ADS-B. 2 of them are less well known. One is based on VHF data link, which never advanced more than the testing stage. The other one makes use of 972 MHz UAT data link, which is in operation in some part of the world, like in the United States. The most popular one, of course, is the ADS-B implemented based on Mode S extended squitter. Similar to other types of Mode S signals, it uses the same frequency as Mode S, which is 1090 MHz. Unlike other type of Mode S communications, it does not require any interrogations. Both air traffic surveillance radar and crowdsourced receivers can intercept and decode these messages without needing any extra information. The reason I want to mention ADS-B here is that even it is Mode S extended squitter with downlink format 17, the messages are still often closely linked to the other type of Mode S downlink formats. For example, downlink formats 20 and 21. We will explain this in the later slides. Now let's back to the conventional Mode S interrogation-based communication diagram. Most of the surveillance information is downlinked in Mode S Comm-B messages. They have downlink format of 20 or 21. And here you can see a list of most common Mode S capabilities. Of course, there are many more types of information that the surveillance radar can request in addition to the ones I listed in this table. Each message is identified by the Comm-B data selector or BDS code. You can see that even ADS-B is not part of Comm-B. Each ADS-B message is still assigned with a BDS code. Besides that, there are 2 main blocks of Mode S messages. ELS stands for Mode S elementary surveillance, which provides basic information related to aircraft. And EHS stands for Mode S enhanced surveillance, which provides advanced information such as selected altitude, speed, roll angle, track angle, heading, etc. Now that I have answered the question regarding the Comm-B capabilities, you may have another question in mind. How does surveillance radar know which capabilities are available for an aircraft? There are 3 steps to acquire this. First of all, surveillance radar needs to know which aircraft are in its vicinity and what each transponder is capable of. This is needed because most of the aviation communication is designed with backwards compatibility in mind. Since they cannot change their communication device like we change our phones whenever there's a new G coming out, there are still many aircraft with old equipment. The OCO reply is designed just to do that. It has an uplink and downlink format of 11, and in the reply message, a capability report field or CA field indicates whether the transponder supports 112-bit downlink as opposed to the old 56-bit downlink. If the aircraft does support the 112-bit downlink, perfect. In step 2, the radar interrogates the data link capability report with BDS 10 code using an uplink format 20 or 21. In the reply message, in bit 68, the radar can find out whether the aircraft supports the downlink of common usage GICB capability report. Remember, both of these messages belong to Mode S elementary surveillance. If the aircraft does support GICB capability, that's great. In step 3, the surveillance radar initiates an uplink interrogation with BDS code 17, still using the uplink format of 20 or 21. And aircraft reply with common usage GICB capability report. At this point, we bring in our decoder and extract the information contained in this message. In this slide, I want to briefly go through with you the structure of the GICB message. In this message, each bit represents a downlink capability. When it is set to 1, the capability is available. When it is set to 0, the capability is not available. The exception is the last 32 bits. They are reserved for future use, so they have to be set to 0. This is also one of the logic that we use to identify GICB message. You can see the first block corresponds to the ADS-B capabilities. Then we have 3 enhanced surveillance capabilities shown in purple. I also marked 2 of the interesting capability in blue. They are related to weather reports. And of course, we only have one field corresponds to the elementary surveillance, since we must have interrogated the other 2 BDS code, 10 and 117, to reach this message. I mentioned the BDS code inference in the last slides. It is important to emphasize that the BDS code are not transmitted in most messages, including the GICB message with BDS 17. So we use PyModeS to properly identify all the common BDS code and extract only the BDS 17 messages for the analysis in this paper. In this slide, I want to show you an overview of our entire process. It can be roughly divided in 3 parts. First is the data gathering. We downloaded 1 month of global raw Mode S data from OpenSky network. The chosen month is September 2019, quite a while ago before the COVID started. We downloaded a 1-minute segment of global data every 15 minutes. Even that, it took 15 days to download everything. That's also why we could only do analysis with 1 month of data instead of a full year. Next, we remove the duplicates within each minute segment. We then identify and only save the GICB messages. In total, we have obtained approximately 40 million GICB messages. And out of these 40 million messages, we have about 200,000 unique messages. Finally, only the messages with identifiable aircraft are used for the analysis. The analyses are focused on overall GICB capabilities, capabilities by aircraft type, ADS-B and EHS compliance, and meteorological capabilities. In this slide, you can see the overall statistic of GICB among all world aircraft known to OpenSky network. We have BDS 20, which is part of elementary surveillance. We can see a large number of ADS-B capabilities in blue, as well as EHS capability in purple. For those who are interested in meteorological capabilities, the result is not very optimistic. Only very few aircraft are equipped with these capabilities. In this slide, you can see the capability by aircraft type. The darker the dot, the higher percentage of aircraft in the type have enabled a specific capability. Looking horizontally, we can see that the aircraft do not support ADS-B and Mode S enhanced surveillance are mostly general aviation aircraft. And if you're looking at the graph vertically, you can see that the capabilities other than ADS-B and EHS are not well supported in general. We can also take a look at the ADS-B and EHS compliance at global level. In this graph, only aircraft with known aircraft type code are included. We only considered it to be compliant when all related BDS code are supported. It includes all type of aircraft such as passenger aircraft, cargo, general aviation, and helicopters. So in this graph, we can see that the rate of compliance for ADS-B and EHS are both around 67%. If we look only at Airbus and Boeing aircraft, the compliance rate are over 99%. Sometimes it is also interesting to know the meteorological capabilities of the aircraft. In a few of our early studies, we found that wind and temperature captured by aircraft can be a rather important information. In this figure, on the right hand side, you see the number per aircraft type, which has at least the BDS 44 code enabled. The total number of aircraft is around 1800 compared to a total of 50,000 aircraft in the dataset. The top aircraft types are Dash 8 and ATR 72. And for Airbus and Boeing aircraft, only in very rare cases these capabilities are supported. So we are a little bit skeptical about the presence of Airbus and Boeing aircraft here. More data need to be analyzed to see if this is due to misclassified GICP messages. You might also be interested in exploring the resulting dataset. We have made it public. It is in CSV format. Please feel free to download it from the GitHub. Here you can see a tiny segment of the data. The first three columns are transponder code, aircraft registration, and aircraft type. The rest of the columns indicate the capability that are supported by aircraft. I want to mention again that we only have processed 1 month of data. The limitation is the time that needed to query data using OpenSky interface. However, the process can be automated and deployed to all existing and future OpenSky Mode S data. That is all for this presentation. In this presentation, we talk about how to gather aircraft Comm-B capability from Mode S messages, how to use OpenSky data for this research, what kind of statistic we can have by studying this data, and where you can find the resulting dataset. Finally, I would like to thank you for listening to this recorded presentation. I hope we will be able to see each other in person at next OpenSky Symposium.